Hello, Gophers, and welcome to the Go podcast. My name is Morten Vistesen.
And I'm Dominic.
So we tried to switch it around this week.
Oh yeah, that's a little bit funny. Yeah, it's still winter in here, so my energy is getting kind of low, I would say. So yeah, you do the talking this week. No, that's no. But joke aside, I mean this longer winter is killing me at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, being from Denmark, I really feel your pain. And right now, I'm looking out my window, and the trees are green, and the sun is out, and it's like 21 degrees here. So,
Ouch.
I know your pain being in April and it's freezing, and now, yeah,
Yeah. It's supposed to be like at least, I don't know, in the day 6, 7, 8 degrees, and we are still at zero. For the next 3 days and whatnot. There's snow that might be coming in. That we are 1 week in April, and there's still snow that is coming. Not a huge amount, maybe 1 or 2 centimeter, but I at this point, it's not fun anymore.
No.
Yeah.
Being buried for that many months in darkness and snow is tough.
Yeah, light is not bad, but we don't have many sunshines and things like that. At least it's not dark at 4 p.m. now, but again, we need more sun. We need more a better more warm and whatnot. I was trying to follow what I was saying in the last episode when I was thinking about trying to put yourself in the shoes of how would you find customers and what is the next step. Let me explain a little bit what I'm saying by that. So if you recall, last week I was all about, I might be rewriting my project in Gleam, and it was fun. It was fun for a couple of days, but at some point I started to think, what am I doing here? It's a problem that I have myself when there's no usage. So I don't have users yet. And the product is very near. It's there. I would say it's shippable, and I should start to try and get the first users and whatnot. But as I built it and discover a lot of things, and the original idea isn't what I built, because for some reason at first I was building an app for my wife. So my wife basically has this. I don't know what to call that. Let's call that a small agency that is doing a lot of things for customers. Marketing strategies, website. They do a lot of things. Social posting, calendar, and whatnot. I don't know what they do exactly, but they needed like proposal and invoicing and a couple of modules like that, the booking page and whatnot. And that was the idea at first. And that thing grew to a website builder, and there's a way to sell courses, because I wanted to move my own platform where I'm selling my courses, and now we do have 2 people that is trying the tool that we are offering them freely, and they needed a store. Anyways, the point is, I don't know. The requirements got all over the place, and now, even before the LLMs, I was kind of a dangerous person to leave with a code base, because I was always like, oh yeah, we can do that. It will take like 1 week, and now it's worse. Now it's, oh yeah, we can do that. We'll take this AM, this module will be completed and whatnot, and. So at some point, I am with this gigantesque 70,000 lines of front-end application, probably around 15,000 in the Go side, which is, this is manageable. This is not the problem. The problem is the front end for me. And I was like, with everything that I've learned so far and the direction that I started the project, it's like with all that I've learned, I wanted to rewrite it to be more maintainable in the long term. And that, that idea felt extremely appealing and whatnot, but that's a trap, and that is my trap. That is a trap that I'm falling very, very often in. After having worked on a project, just before you start to have real feedback from potential users, potential people that might be willing to pay, I'm like, oh, this is not perfect. This is not correct. We are having way too much, whatever, X, Y, and Z. But I was, after we hung up last week and a couple of days after that, it was still in my head, and I was like, I'm not even applying what I'm saying. This is crazy. So I stopped. I stopped the Gleam rewrite right away. Put on my I put on my courage and just say, you know what, this thing is what I have at the moment, and it's working. There is still two people that at the moment which are not giving much feedback, but might be a good thing because they are still able to work with the product and whatnot. So long story short, I stopped the Gleam thing, and I'm just trying to kick myself a little bit and try to apply what I'm trying to say to everyone, which is, try to put yourself in the shoes that how will you find the customers and try to find this famous the 10 first paying customers, which will probably give you the right feedback, or at least not the kind of feedback that I do have. Nobody cares that there's a 67,000 lines of React application at the moment. It's not. I made sure with a lot of tests that this thing is working. I'm going to move my store on this platform myself. My wife is already using it as well. She's not part of the two other that are testing it. So this is where I am at the moment. So I'm not satisfied at all, technically speaking, of what was the output of that. And that was the first time that I've used an LLM assisted, product that I've built. And I'm frankly, if I'm 100% honest with you, I am not at all satisfied with what I am. I know that this thing will be a mess to maintain. I don't like the quality. It's not at all to my quality level that I'm used to build things. But the fact that it was so fast and now it's gigantesque, it's good and it's very bad at the same time. So this is where I am this morning.
That is always the the pain, right? That you know where it should be, but you need to make money, get it out there, and ask what people think, so you don't just build things that only you want to use. I totally get it. I also done the same process a little bit with deploy create, where I learned something and then I just, because I'm still exploring, building it out for myself, right? I can just delete everything and start over, like wipe the database and then test everything, do that. And I think it is good to a certain degree, right? But it's also like at one point you need to stop doing that process and just evolve the project in a quote unquote normal way based on feedback, and then deal with the with the migrations or the code changes or the whatever it is, right? But it is difficult because you can sit and look at it and be like, I know what I'm supposed to do, but I don't have the time to do it. So what's the middle path? And it kind of reminds me a little bit about, or not reminds me, but I saw this discussion on Twitter where one guy had signed up for a product and he wanted to delete his his account, but he couldn't, and he had to pay $1 in support. Like he had to pay $1 to access support, right? So I think the fact that you are actually still worried about it to this level, it's on the like it's still a sign of like high level products that you have these kind of thing, because the bar seems to be going down, at least in the hacking space, right? So I get your worry, but I also think it's important to remember that the fact that you have that worry is probably a good sign that you have a high quality product compared to competitors, right? That are still making money.
No, exactly, and I'm not ready to ship anything that I won't be using myself in a sense. So but yeah, again, to what you are saying, I'm also seeing that a lot. People are shipping, like crazy, half bake and not really battle tested. Well, not battle tested, but just tested a minimum product even, and they are discovering a lot of problems. The thing is that how they are getting that much customers, that is kind of crazy to me, and I'm wondering, if I've said that a couple of times so far, but again, at some point, people would get very, very tired of trying new SaaS that are just bad, and now they will be extremely careful and very sensitive to trying new things, I would guess, and I cannot blame them at all.
Yeah, I also think like there's a lot of the narrative that kind of these products sells with you're kind of selling the dream in a way of becoming independent and making a lot of money, and that's I think how these products work, because they seem to be gathering a following of people who always comes out of the weeds to to defend the most crazy decisions that these people do, right? But it's like you're not really doing a product, you're more doing a dream for all the other people to be independent. So it becomes a thing about being independent entrepreneur. Then it actually becomes about building a good product. So the details kind of becomes second hand or what is it called? Second level worry. I don't know what I'm trying to say here in English, but yeah, it's not really the product is not really the primary focus, right? I think for a lot of these people, and also like we really need to be careful not to turn into the AI podcast. But I had like a complaint on LinkedIn where I wrote something about the status uptime of these providers. I think we talked about the last episode as well, where they are now dipping into the 98 or 99% uptime. And that was like we used to have the standard of five nines of uptime now, and that's definitely gone away. And then there was this CEO, at least in his title, he said he was the CEO, who was like, yeah, but you forget the old Chinese proverb of I accept 4 nines, I think he said, to be 10x more productive. Right? I was like, okay, you get more productive, but to what effects, right? And I also think that's the mindset you see in some of these indie hacking products, like, oh, but I'm so productive. Like, okay, what
at
does
what
that
quality?
even mean? Yeah, at what quality, right? Because like this CEO was arguing that, oh, we could 10x the output. I'm like, but these providers need to be stable. If they want you to build the businesses on top of them. If they can't even be stable, like why would you ever do that? So it's not really always a good measure. And I really think that's what we are seeing with these kind of products, right? It's like, oh, I built 10 apps this month. Like, okay, fine, cool. Like, but what do they do? And it's like, oh, it's another to-do app or something like that,
No, exactly. I'm seeing it with the product that I have. I mean, it's true that I would never have reached that, but at the end of the day, I've been building products since 2008, and in this kind of SaaS model, if you will. So I kind of know exactly what I wanted or what I. So there's a lot of traps, but even that, at the end you still have a lot of cleanups to do. It's crazy, and I'm not even sure what we are generating anymore because like I said, I've restarted doing exorcism with Gleam. I'm just me and my code editor and the problem, and now I need to write some algorithms to fix that. And this is so relaxing. It's crazy how different it is compared to what the hype is trying to push us into. This flow is not at all interesting to me. Especially after doing it for a long time or for a serious project at least, because at the end of the day, I'm reaching the 80,000 line of code, which does not mean anything nowadays, because I mean this thing is outputting a lot of line of codes, but the product is big, is very big, but I don't know. I don't know. I needed to repass entirely in the Go layer because I did the mistake of using it to write some Go, and it was just bad. Now it's not at all writing Go. So again, I don't know. I don't know where I am. And to complement what you were saying, not only there's some downtime, but what I've heard is that they might, or at least Anthropic might start to have some kind of difficulties serving popular hours. I don't recall which was exactly. I think it's the 5 to 11 Pacific time, where probably some of the European and the East and the West are all trying to do things. And now I was starting to think, in Quebec, the electricity, we have some peak hours and we have some, I don't know, not peak hours, whatever how you call that, and it's cheaper. So I was like, wow, will they start to, will the company start to need to I don't know, to have different hour shift in the day to spread out that, or it's us solo programmers or entrepreneurs that will now not even be able to use these things when the big corporate enterprise wants to use them, 8 to 5 or whatever, 9 to 5. So I'm like, wow, this is not very, very promising, I would say, for the future.
No, it's very Black Mirror-esque. It is approach to things. There was one of the newer seasons where I can't remember. There was this lady who had, I think, a brain tumor, something like that, and then she got an operation and she needed this implant, and then they started showing ads, and then they was actually using her brain capacity for computing, so she could only be like, she always woke up tired because when she was sleeping, they were using her brain for computing, right, for the network. And it's just, they always decrease the amount of time that she could actually use the implementation in her brain. It's like, oh, you need the Gold Deluxe package for this now. And, and it's the same thing here, where it's like, oh, now it's like it's peak hours and you use your usage more, and they completely nerfed the token usage you have. Like people were being on like $200 plans complaining that they used it in like an hour, right? So it's taken some weird turns, and now they also made it so that you can't even use what's it called, OpenClaw anymore with it, even on what is it like?
Remember. They have banned that.
They
usage
banned
of
that
the subscription.
Now. Huh. Yeah.
So you need to use the API, which is way costly.
Yeah. It is, because they were just using but they were using the official Claude CLI tool, right? So they were just running it in database mode or prompt mode or whatever, and that's gone now. And as it looks like they are just looking for open Claude system prompt, and if they find that, they chuck you over to either API or extra usage, so you don't use your subscription model. I don't know. It's a weird world. I unsubbed to Anthropic. I had the small plan for a long time, so I canceled that, and then I'm gonna start to just explore the Chinese models a bit more. I've been playing with them on the side for a long time now. So trying to get away from that whole thing. Also,
so you will host that locally?
I will probably use Open Router and then play with the larger models, because I have done that and they work good, and also they are decently priced on the API. Direct access is actually fairly priced. And then I have been playing around with local models as well. I have, what is it, a 50, 70, 50, 80, I can't remember my graphic card. But I have like 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So I can load in a model that's okay. It's not amazing, but I can load in one, but it overloads my memory and crashes a lot. You typically need something around 24 gigabytes of VRAM. But I think some of the newer models can offload something into normal RAM as well. So maybe I need to start looking at local models again. But they're not at a level where they are competitive with the big ones where you need a server farm to run, right? But it's really going in a direction where it's like just write the code. Just use your fingers and then
I don't know. Exactly. I don't know what it is. I think they have really, really succeeded at, if you try it once, you will have a lot of difficulties to not use that at all. They ensured that we are kind of addicted to using it, because now just thinking of I don't know. Just thinking of taking 4 days to write something how you want it to be written with good quality, and it feels crazy even now for me, which I was not like that in October 25.
No.
So for the small time that I've been using it, which is like, I don't know, 8 months or something. Wow. Yeah, they have done something very amazing-ish, in a sense that, wow, it's very, very hard to stop stop writing things that you might not want to write, and that is the danger. The things that I'm very excited about, I still write it myself, but there's just so many of those, and this is probably what's happening in a 9-to-5 enterprise jobs. Basically, I don't know, man. It's not like you're writing exciting code each day. So I would guess that this is where company wants to see more usage of these things, because now they want their engineers to have some kind of more productivity, because it's not really them that is writing the boring code, but they still need to pilot this thing, and I don't know what it's like, to be frank. I don't know what it's like, but I cannot encourage enough people to just make sure that you continue to write regularly some codes. Make sure you continue to have fun outside of this flow. And this is not because I'm against that at all, or anything, but I just feel like, wow, we have worked so hard for these skills. It's sad to see them goes like that.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I think we end up on this topic, right? Because it's such a huge part of everything you hear and see, right? But it's like it's the same thing. Like you use it or lose it, and don't forget about it. Like there actually is value in knowing the code base at least to a certain degree. And
Yeah.
and what we are seeing right now is what likely happened because the whole industry of AI cannot. It seems like they cannot get access to GPUs fast enough, at least, and they are overloaded. They can't find capacity. You're seeing it both in OpenAI and in Anthropic, and there's something called Open Code that has some subscription plans as well. They collaborate with other providers, and they are seeing the same thing. They are like overloaded, or they cannot keep up in terms of capacity, right? So we are likely only going to see more, and that's probably the future. The future we're looking into until Elon Musk gets his space data center up and running.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
that. Oh, no. Oh, well, what happened with your project? You were saying that you were having some, I don't know, crisis or whatnot regarding your open source project.
Yeah, it's weird. Like how I'm trying to evolve in Andurel to a proper V1, because now I'm starting to deploy crate is starting to have grown into a size that is, and of course is built with Andurel, and now I'm starting to question my approach to the model layer, which is where I try try to contain all the business logic in the model layer, but I also don't want to use an ORM, so I'm using I have the framework generate the CRUD queries that then use SQLC to generate the boilerplate, and then we take those boilerplate functions and build model functions on top of those that then gets exposed out to the rest of the code base. So you can only access the database through this database layer, and it works fine. I just start to see I would like to have some more concrete ways of doing, for example, like access validation, who can access this, and it's just getting the basic CRUD operations in place. It's still a lot of lines of code, not incredible, but it's suddenly you quickly have 20, 30 models, and all of those just for the CRUD is gonna be, I don't know, 400 lines of code, because Go is verbose, it's nice to read. So it's kind of okay, how can I actually fix this? So now I'm also, should I create my own, not ORM, but ORM-like? Because there's also another project called Bob. By a guy called Stefano, I think his name is, where he takes the best of Squirrel, so it's a query builder, but he also has SQLC-like behavior, and then he has, I believe it's SQL boiler behavior. So there's multiple layers of how you can interact with the code base. But the main problem now, the main frustration I have, is I'm trying to recreate this thing where in Rails you have a model, there's a class that you just add your logic to, and then all the other things is hidden away from you. And it's trying to get as close as possible to that in a strictly typed language where you don't want an ORM is difficult. Because even if I add an ORM, I don't really get around the whole needing, you need to write the wrappers, because you can't do the whole meta programming like you can in Rails, right? So even if I have something like GORM, and I have to I still need a create wrapper around GORM's create wrapper if I want to apply business logic to the create this data entity, whatever. So so I'm a little bit at a crossroad, because in essence, I really want it to be interface driven, but this requires me to have, I want it to be interface driven, and I also want the DX to be really, really good. So you just have models.user.all, something like that, right? That is the call path. Okay. But then I also want to have it being interface driven in terms of like access or hooks, so that if I want only certain types of users to access something, I implement the can access interface, and then I need all queries to go through this one function that then checks if it's have implemented. It works, but it gets hairy. It gets a little bit so yeah.
So when you say custom functionalities, you mean that the user that will use the project might want to add more custom functionalities over the user entity, for example? Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know if custom is the right word here, but it's more like, if you have like in Rails, for example, you can do the before after operations on a model. You can validate the presence of something. You can add like policy level behavior, and that is what I'm trying to mimic with interfaces, so the thing that we expose is a variable of an unexported struct that then implements these interfaces, so that the framework owns the interfaces that you can implement, and then we have this big function that checks for the type having implemented these interfaces, and then call those methods if they're implemented. I'm probably also rambling a little bit here, because it works, but it's also, I think it's the nature of typesets and that. So I was also at one point am I just fighting a losing battle here? Because it's, or should I just accept that you have like an unexported type that then implements these things, and then that is that, and just keep everything as it is? Or should I really try and go down the rabbit hole of implementing my own database access toolkit thingy?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably not going to do it, but...
yeah, right.
But it's also very tempting just to be
it's already written. Say it.
It's already like, just, hey, Claude, can you please implement this for me? And hope it works, right?
Ouch. But I'm still a little bit unclear. Can you give me an example of what I would want to do from my end to extend what the project is offering?
So from
because let's say you were talking about the before and the after, so it means that and maybe I'm not really remembering what Rails were, but what was the before kind of used to apply anything to the model before it was like inserted or updated in the database?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can do something before it's created and something after it's created. Or something before it's updated or something after it's updated. So you can just have that logic baked into it. And I had a use case for it that I can't remember right now. They have.
Can it not be like simple function registration that the user would opt in to do that? Because I would guess that it's not on all the models that the user would want to do something like that. So why not just have them call, you know what, I want to hook the unuser created whatever, and now you're this is of type func whatever, and the user is just taking your project and just registering that function in a sense. So if if it's not nil, then you call that in your code. Could that work?
Yeah. So that's also kind of what I'm doing. Just saying, like, if this is implemented, call it. So the user can just they can just implement on a per model basis what of these like policies and kind of hooks that they want to have, and then it will call them. But of course, you can also just do this in the code itself, right? So you can just like I don't really. Yeah. So this is just an attempt, like to see if am I gaining something, because I started to have a lot of repetition in terms of like access pattern in deploy code, like who can actually access this server or this application or this environment. And of course, it's just a function that you then have to call in all the relevant model functions, right? But it's also, is it easier just to have like this work in one place where you implement, like, for example, like a can access or can modify interface, and then have it always being applied if like, so it's just trying to really improve how I like the code ends up looking.
But are you certain this use case exists at all? I mean, I feel like, because can you give an example? Why would I want to do that? Very, very precisely. Give me one scenario where I would like to, I don't know, do something before an entity is created in the database.
So okay, we're having on the hooks part. The hooks part, I am not something I would use myself. Like I'm more worried about the policies part of this. I mean, the argument you could say, like, I want to, I don't know, encrypt something before it's stored or something. But then again, why wouldn't you just pass the encrypted? Yeah. So I'm the hooks part is more let's say feature parity thing with Rails than it is actually something I would likely use. I believe I had something for it before, but I can't give you a concrete example because I stopped doing it. I was playing around with Bob some months ago for Andurel as well, and I found some use cases for before and after, but it's not really anything I do a lot. So it is more the feature parity and the framework, the design around it that I was exploring, mainly driven by these access policies that I wanted to try and make more concrete in a way, like codify them a bit more, and that's also where the hooks come in. I don't know if that makes sense.
a little bit. It what brings the magic to Rails, I would say, in a sense.
Yeah,
might be a hard sell to go first, though. That's a little bit what I'm trying to say, is that maybe you're looking at something that not many people will want to use, or I don't even know. It's very hard. I haven't looked at your code, and I don't really know what the project is where it's at and whatnot. So I mean, I could be totally wrong in here, but I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate, I guess, and trying to say, maybe you will work on the problem that does not really exist, or it is. That might be something that you might need to be certain first, if it's something that you want to tackle, because it seems to be very complex with how Go's is working compared to Ruby, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more awkward than it's necessarily complex.
Okay,
it's more like because it is literally just calling like it's a function that you pass the model to, you pass the query to, and then you pass the operation, and then you basically have much of it, and then you can make it generic, and that's it. That's kind of like the current explorative path I have. But then it's like, okay, do you actually gain anything from it? So it's also just trying to always cut down on the amount of code that you have to write.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do, but that's, again, without the meta programming, you don't really do it. And to your point about Go first wanting it, I'm pretty sure nobody wants it. I think all the people who are using it are Rails developers who are Go curious.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe there's a very good reason to do it yourself. I mean, it's it depends. Again, it depends. So maybe there's some Rails developers out there that want to try Go. It's funny. I kind of find myself into a similar position because I'm using static backend with the product that I was talking at first, and I discovered at some point that the way that I'm letting users create multiple, they can create multiple application, if you will, inside their own accounts in the product. So let's say, so me personally, I do have my consulting, and I do have another app where I want to sell my courses. Those are not really related and whatnot. So what I discovered is that, well, static backend, the way that the users in account works is that users are attached to an account, and in my case, it means that, strangely enough, I could not have the same users, or at least the same customers, into a separate application, because they are both under the same account, and that is not working. But worse than that is that the email of a user is globally unique across a static backend tenant. So that was a huge realization, a problem, and a clack in my face. I was like, "Oh no, this isn't very, very bad." So that what it means exactly is that a customer that would purchase a course from an app A could not even create themselves or become a customer of the platform and create their own apps, because their users, or at least their email, is already used. And since the email, even though the users are under an account, the email was globally unique. I started to think really hard about this, and of course the what I did was kind of a workaround, but it's still not bad. And I did not want it to release any kind of breaking changes, even though I'm certain that I'm just the one that is using static backend, because I just unarchived it, especially. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I just hooked the login and register function of static backend, and now I'm looking at, is this something that exists in another app and whatnot, and I've just introduced a way to associate a user with multiple other accounts with its own roles, its own authentication token and whatnot. So what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, I was able to do that. It's not, it's not pretty. It's not that exciting, but at least it's working, and there's a little bit of responsibility that now needs to be done by the user of this. So if and when I say user, I mean the user of static backend. So me building this platform using static backend, I'm now responsible to determine, or at least to play right with static backend, to say, oh, okay, you're returning me that this users already have an account with another store or whatever. So I could probably now display to the user, oh, you know what? You already purchase something with store A, so you will need to use your same username and password now. So what I'm trying to say is that maybe you don't need to solve it all yourself, but just give it, just give enough for the people to do that, themselves in their codes. Maybe sometimes it's like the easier path or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, true. But also, I think I'm the only one who's really building on it. There are some stars and there are some people contributing a little bit. So it's a good point. I mean, but I'm trying to drive it from real project users, and I would love it to hear what people think, because it's not something I've heard anything about. It's my own little desire to have some more I guess convention.
Right.
Yeah, But it's also because you're right that like how it is right now, you basically just, it's kind of like a once and done generation, and then people can figure it out themselves, which might also be the path forward for this this project, and then I can tackle this in my own, because it do ship with like internal package that's kind of like framework owned that you can just add to if you want to, and that's basically what I do now if I want to explore quote unquote framework features. So yeah, it's but it was one of those things where I started working on it and I started exploring it, and then I was like, just use Rails. But then I remember all the times I have used Rails, I was like, I just want to use Go. So yeah.
Sometimes it's hard though to bring the baggage and the convention of another stack inside another language. It seems to be very sexy as an idea. It's not always easy to do that, or simple at least. Yeah.
No, it's difficult, and it also is like the dynamic nature of Rails versus the static nature of Go. It's a lot of things that can't really map well, and maybe it would have been easier if I have went with an ORM in certain sense, but I explored this a lot. Like I tried out all the ORMs and ORM likes and SQL generating things for this project, and I always ended up in the same way where I had to wrap something in a function to apply the business logic, right? So I don't really necessarily think that's the tooling. Also because SQLC is amazing at what it does.
Yeah.
And you can always add scroll and then start doing it manually if you need some dynamic queries, right? So I'm also not really convinced that is where the problem are. So I'm debating whether or not I should introduce this like unexported type that can implement policies and hooks and whatever, and then expose that through a variable, and then have that variable be where you call like find and create and all these things, right? But again, is it worth anything? I don't know. So that is where I'm like a little bit. I love the idea, but I'm also not sure I can execute it very well right now, which is probably a sign that this is a very much half-baked idea currently. That
it's hard to build the right product when you don't have much feedback. That's a fact. So sometimes it's what can you do? I mean, it's either you go from your guts or you wait for feedback. It's there's not much that can be done there.
Yeah. So that's I think that's the current state of Andurel and the Rails web framework can go. Still no Windows support. There's a guy who's been working on it, but I'm also very close to being like, let's just not do that. Let's just do Unix-based systems.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's one of
it's a server. I don't see why Windows would cause any problem. It's strange.
For Andurel, the web framework?
Yeah.
I think the main problem is that there are some dependencies that we have. I can't remember exactly that makes it not work. So I'm sure it's an easy fix, but none of the people who helps have access to Windows machines. So and also I could just install Windows and check it out. It's mainly I try to separate like developer tools from application dependencies. So there's something around those where we need to do a little bit of extra checking, because for Mac and Linux it's basically one-to-one. Also some of the generation needs to the binary that we generate, all those kind of things needs to get changed a little bit. But it's not something that's been a focus because I don't really use Windows, so I relied on on Claude to to generate that part. And then some guy tried it out and was like, this doesn't work. And I was like, damn, I really thought it would. Yeah.
Okay,
But
so there's a dependencies there that is used at some point where it's calling from I guess a GNU the one of the tools that makes the is it like that, or because I cannot believe that a normal quote unquote Go servers cannot run on Windows. As this is interesting.
Yeah, no, but it's also very much built with Unix paths in mind. So we still rely on, we still need to probably handle paths a little bit better.
Well, there's a path that joins that already handled that for. I mean, there has to be something. It's not in the code. I cannot think of something that would be not compatible with Windows in the code. It has to be an external tool that isn't installed on Windows and whatnot, and it is just there in Linux and probably the Mac terminal, or I don't know.
I'm checking now shell. Because now I get confused if I'm actually doing this right. So yeah.
Yeah, to be confirmed or something like that, because I mean this is the strength of Go. This is where Go is shining compared to even Rust. I mean, you still need the tooling to compile Rust to Windows. You need to install all the the compiler and whatnot inside Windows. You need to do that. There's not much cross compilation and whatnot. So Go is able to generate this assembly that is just compatible with all of them. This is kind of crazy. So it has to be an external dependencies. I don't know. The iNotify things that maybe you're monitoring for file change or something like that. It has to be something that isn't part of the quote unquote base Windows. But other than that, it cannot be in the code. This is. I would be extremely shocked to hear that.
I mean, it okay, there was this guy Josh has been doing a lot of work on it. It is simply code changes. Like it's we need you need to append the .exe in places. We need to, what is it we are doing? Yeah, sometimes I'm doing file permissions. That's what he cannot do. That we cannot see much stuff. What is it like? Yeah, so if naming is Windows, see much. So I'm doing some file permission stuff.
Yeah, you're building some tool. Okay. But those are still fairly manageable. Okay. I thought it was like a kind of crazy dependency. So maybe if you had use, I don't know, the get text tooling for internationalization and whatnot, that is some kind of tooling that is just there on Linux or very, very easily installable, but kind of very messy on Windows always.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is also because I have not giving any prioritization to Windows when building this thing. So like what you're saying, it is likely that I can also see the changes he has done here. It's a lot of using the file path, the join thing, right? That would probably deal with a lot of it, but it's also where do we want to focus your time on? So that's the big missing piece that I think needs to, at least on the framework side. And then I have the app runner, where I believe we are also doing a lot of Unix style things to deal with that. That should also be a pull request to make the process management a little bit more compatible with how we do it in Windows. But I can also see it's the same kind of thing he's done here with. Yeah. So that's kind of the status.
Well,
I think.
yes, and learn always use the file path that joins for sure. Yeah, that's one thing, and don't save files to the yeah. Okay, cool. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. I think we caught most of it.
Yeah, we need to ensure that next week we don't talk about LLMs at all or AI.
Next week is LLM free.
Yeah, we should do a challenge of that.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Have a good week.
You too. Bye bye.